This is a video reply for Ford Art. I'm gonna make it longer form so that way that it's there for you to watch, but people aren't really piling on to go ahead and, listen. Kind of gives a chance more privacy despite openly private by just people not having interest. But, alright. First thing I wanted to say, sorry for your loss. Understand the circumstances that sometimes it's about what's in your best interest, and circumstance, just no matter how much you want to not accept that decision could end up being the best decision made for the circumstance at the time. It sometimes is, you know? I mean, sometimes you have to help prevent the suffering of the innocent, even if it ends up turning into grief that you could end up going and carrying with you. But I have to say, first off, santamuertedevotee, that one actually caught me off guard. That surprised me. Um, well, I have a experience to go ahead and share with you. Ironically enough, you saw a little bit of it, but there's a lot more context to it than you even realize. You saw, but I also know you weren't capable of translating. You know, ironically enough, the video where I publicly apologized to Frostbit by Karma 666 because there was a misunderstanding, ironically enough, and it was a misunderstanding of intentions. You know, um, when it comes to reading people, I understand how invasive it is, and I don't like doing it. I Everyone deserves to have their own internal privacy, you know. Sometimes it just happens whether or not I like it or not. Uh well, the incense that I ended up using, charming the smoke when I was making the apology with, karma, was voodoo, not shooting star. So imagine having to go ahead and attempt to unlatch the jaw of a dog going straight for the throat. You know, I mean, in that first video, that when I pointed out the smoke was gonna go like that, and yeah, and then right afterwards it did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was my ancestors attempting to latch on. And keep in mind, I had to do what I could to rip that back. Because I know it sounds weird, but I'm not sure how long that Frostbite by Karma has been on their personal journey, but I don't. For me, that was an interesting experience getting to see somebody getting verbally bitch slapped via smoke signal. That's not. Oh my god! Like just straight up, like oh, I wasn't expecting that. And then literally the first thing that ended up going ahead and being is cover your cleavage. You're a lady. And you're a spirit that's been fucking dead for over 100 years. Anyway, when people see that, they either think that I'm just slipping into delusion or that I'm just schizophrenic or, you know, until I end up going ahead and somewhat translating and demonstrating, and they go ahead and they have the words in their head to understand what they're seeing is also something that's being said. It's just something that they couldn't understand was being said until spoken by somebody capable of being able to explain what was said. You know? It makes it pretty difficult because then you have to go ahead and rely on the translator, and it gets pretty fucking awkward for the translator too when, you know, basically the message ends up going ahead and being like, the girl with the snake, it's pretty obvious with the fucking cobra tattoo. Like, oh. But yeah, literally my answer is attempt to go ahead and latch on to, you know, Frostbite by Karma, who she says she didn't do the freezer spell, that her spirit, her spirit team did. Either which way, I gotta admit, that was hell, you know? But ultimately, good intention hell. Alright? Ultimately, when you're able to go ahead and realize that the person that was supposed to be your victim ends up realizing that you put a stipulation on your very spell of the deserving, you know, to basically be like, well, you know what? If you didn't actually deserve for that to happen, you will survive it. You may even go ahead and grow from it if you're a wise person. And you know, it might even help you turn into a better person. Growth ain't always comfortable. It ain't always easy. You know? But the funny thing is, I'll hope you know the reason why I'm replying is because when you ended up mentioning, war spirits, literally, it was like, first thing I was like, am I being Beetlejuiced? Have I been beckoned? Because, yeah, not many people are able to demonstrate and visualize their crafts at, like, John Constantine levels. But I want to say, as far as your loss, I understand that loss. If anything, that very specific kind of loss was the reason that I ended up going ahead and giving up on sex with anyone. You know? I guess grief manifested in physical form. You know? I guess it presents as like either performance anxiety or like just a lack of desire. But ultimately, it's just because of the factor of, people. It seems like people end up going ahead too in that circumstance and get highly offended because it's like, do you, are you repulsed by me? Like, is that what's going on here? Like, I thought I made my desires pretty clear up front, It seemed like you were intrigued. Like, what happened between the point of initiation and now? Like, not understanding, like, hey, sometimes, well, you're just talking about the factor of you want instant gratification. Somebody's going ahead and having to deal with their own internal war and hoping to get through that one specific battle quick enough to not end up disappointing. So eventually you go from not wanting to disappoint, just not even initiating or trying, so that way nobody ends up disappointed, you know? And then when you have people going ahead and trying to talk shit about, oh, looks like you're a fucking cock or some shit. And it's like, dude, maybe I'm actually a person with fucking emotions and working through my own shit and trying not to make it everybody else's fucking problem. Do you ever think of that? Oh, too busy worried about the blood flow going to the wrong fucking head. Got it. But as far as different crafts, different beliefs, different lineage that they end up coming from, different backgrounds that end up going ahead and having more open acceptance towards them than others. Like, there's always going to be some form of drama in that, whether it be religion or spirituality, whether it ends up going ahead and being which is the right way, which is the wrong way, which has more validity to it, which is most effective. But people tend to go ahead and completely sideline the thought of to have something to believe in the first place is to have hopes of something that ends up being more capable of putting everything in order, making sense of the senseless, having some type of good in a corrupted society. Positive intentions. I hate that we live in a world that ultimately, no matter how good your intentions are, there's no avoiding that saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Because it's always seemed to have unforeseen consequences, no matter how good your intentions are. But I want you to know something. The time you end up spending in your head, overanalyzing as it seems, it's not wasted. That right there, developing depth, developing growth. I don't know about you, but I think back to a point in time where I was somebody who it, that person would never believe the person that I am now. They wouldn't believe it was possible. Actually, that person thought that this person would be dead because of how hell-bent, and fast-track destruction that version was on. Don't get me wrong. Fucked up and mangled in my own special kind of ways, but hanging on. Got some dings, got some scrapes. Had to have my internal organs readjusted and positioned back into my innards. Bottoms of my feet cut off. Bled dry. Then had to get a blood transfusion, which that caused a problem for the hospital because O positive blood type. Universal donor. Not usually the universal receiver. So usually the O positive blood type is reserved for everyone. So when one person has to go ahead and have pretty much the entire reserves of O positive used on them because they are O positive blood type and the only type that they can get, a transfusion with, that tends to cause problems that have a ripple effect for every other blood type that ends up needing a transfusion. You know? It's the reason why when I get the opportunity to give blood, I do. Because, my body's able to go ahead and now work it back. So, helping to replenish what was donated, you know? But, anyway, the point that I'm making on this is going ahead and devoting yourself to whether it be a deity, whether it be a belief system, whether it be a specific craft, or whether it ends up going ahead and just being a personal devotion to the person you aspire to be. That right there is a difficult path to walk. You know? When people discourage you, just understand. The only reason why is because they don't perceive themselves to have the willpower to be able to endure it. So because they don't perceive themselves to have the willpower to endure it, they don't. But just figured I'd go ahead and give my thoughts on it. Help you realize that you're not the only one with similar struggle. You know? Your personal experience, your cross to bear, your grief, your responsibility to work through. But sometimes it helps to know that you're not the only person working through a similar struggle, even if theirs shows in a different form. And don't go around telling people that I actually have depth in me. There's a lot of people from my past that wouldn't believe you even if you said it. So, but I don't want them to go ahead and try knocking down my door and actually coming to me for advice and shit. Their path is their own, and some of them could be destructive to my self-discovery and forward well-being. All right, but you ever feel like you want somebody to hit up that might understand from the opposing gender line that actually has to work through that same grief? Hit me up. And if you don't, I apologize for chiming in, but I like your dedication to your viewpoints. That's why I watch. And you can be pretty funny when you're, not being extra depressed. It's refreshing. It helps me not to be a Debbie Downer, so. But, yet again, my emotions, now your responsibility. And, hope everything goes good for you. But, don't be a stranger. Actually, you have a way to be able to hit me up. I have you on Instagram, so you can go ahead and message you there if you ever want to hit me up. Direct message, so.